So let's rank all the films I rewatched for the month of August 2022 right now. Bad Days, Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doyle, better known to as the Big D. Back again with another ranking. Today, I'm going to rank all the films I rewatched last month, August 2022. Now, I'm sorry it's kind of an odd numbers. I watched 31 films, so it's kind of tough, but hey, it's fine, what have you. I kind of listed a couple of guilty pleasures a little low and not so high, so that way I wouldn't get controversy and everything. You know what they are when we get to them. But now, if you're ready, sit back, relax, and before I get started, I'm going to try and go rapid fire, not to give too much descriptions and what have you, so I can get this done in no time, but you will see me back on screen with the final five. Alright, here we go. Number 31 is Wild Wild West from 1999. This is a guilty pleasure of mine. I mean, well, this film really didn't catch on with the audiences. It was still a bit of a success, though, with Will Smith, Kevin Kline, Salma Hayek, Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, it's good and what have you. Not really great, though, but it's still pretty fun in some ways. I did do a review of this year's back, so enough said. Number 30 is Ghostbusters from 2016. I say I have this low and not so high. This is a guilty pleasure. I went and saw this film. I reviewed this film last year. I know people are mixed on this film because it was, well, you get the idea. Still, I really liked the performances we got. Chris Hemsworth, though, on the other hand, was a little cuckoo, though. But I'd rather see the original or the second one, or even the more recent Ghostbusters Afterlife over this. Number 29 is Hey Arnold the Movie from 2002. Well, I didn't watch the show much, but I had respect for it. This film didn't do too well at the box office, though. It was the first Nicktoon flick to get a PG rating before the SpongeBob SquarePants movie or Rugrats Gone Wild, Go Wild even came out. Anyway, this film's, well, reasonable and what have you. Not too much to be said about, but it has its moments, though. Number 28 is Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge from 1989. Now, I watched this for the first time earlier this year, and while after rewatching it, I think it's a little more fun, what have you. This is really an underrated horror flick. I've already reviewed this film. If you've never seen this film, you might want to check it out. It does have a bit of cheesy moments, but still, I think it's an underrated horror flick if you ask me. Number 27 is Triple X, Return of Xander Cage from 2017. I went to see this film. This did okay, but not as good as the original Triple X, which I've reviewed. If you saw my recent video, it got 39 views overall for last month, becoming the third highest view video on my channel. Vin Diesel's back, and he's still pretty good as Xander Cage. The rest of the cast isn't too bad. We do get to see Samuel L. Jackson as Augustus Gibbons, just for a bit and what have you, though. But still, it's fun. Kind of underrated, though. Number 26 is Scream 3 from 2000. This is my least favorite of the franchise. I do have some respect for it. I do like some of the cast and what have you. I mean, we have Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette back. Some of the new cast members were kind of hit or miss and what have you. But I did like how the Ghostface killer used a voice changer. That was pretty good. Number 25 is Halloween H2o, 20 years later from 1998. I feel like this film's underrated. While it don't have, well, good kills, and, well, there were some issues with Michael Myers and what have you. This is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's pretty underrated. And I'm glad Jamie Lee Curtis was back as Laurie and what have you, though she takes under a different name and what have you. But I gotta say, this is good. It should have ended it right there instead of going on with a crummy Halloween Resurrection. Number 24 is Scream 4 from 2011. While this was the last film to be directed by Wes Craven just a few years before his death, this film I think is good in some ways with some new characters and what have you. But it did kind of, however, have its moments. I do like how it turned out and what have you. It's pretty good in some ways. Number 23 is Devil in the Flesh from 1998. Now, this is another guilty pleasure of mine. This film's so. Wow. Rose McGowan is really good in this. I think some of the cast wasn't too bad. I gotta say, this film, I don't think it's a lot to talk about. I did a back-to-back review of this weird sequel, which we'll see where that winds up later on. But I feel like this is so underrated. If you've never seen this, you need to check it out. Number 22 is Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. Now, I know everybody was mixed on this. Rob Zombie's take on the John Carpenter classic is a mixed bag to me. If you saw my re-review of this, then you'll know what I mean. Which, by the way, has done much better than my original review of this. Thank you for making this do better. I hope for the best I'll do the same for the second one. Anyway, Tyler Maine's pretty good. The rest of the cast isn't too bad here. Just watch my re-review and you'll see. Number 21 is Men in Black 2 from 2002. While this is fun, Wivey, it is somewhat a guilty pleasure, but, well, everybody wasn't too thrilled with some of this like it was with its predecessor, though Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones still provide good performances. Selena was a pretty good villainess, though. Anyway, Men in Black 2, it's fun. Number 20 is The Waterboy from 1998. Another guilty pleasure of mine. This film is easily an underrated Adam Sandler flick. He's pretty funny as Bobby. I do think Kathy Bates wasn't too bad. And Fairuza Balk was good. Henry Winkler was good. Yeah, if you haven't seen my review of this film, check it out. Number 19 is Devil in the Flesh 2 from 2000, aka Teacher's Pet. This film, I really do love this. Johnny Lee O'Keefe is good since Rose McGowan didn't return to reprise her role as Debbie, but Johnny Lee O'Keefe fills those shoes up real well. I like the performance of the teacher by Sue Garcia. Of course, that's Nick Corey from Nightmare on Elm Street. Rod, of course, you. Yeah, pretty good. And I am happy that my back-to-back review of this and its predecessor had done so well when I did that. Thank you, everyone. This film's so underrated. Check it out if you haven't. Number 18 is Xanadu from 1980. This is another guilty pleasure of mine. This film didn't do too well at the box office in 1980 when it came out. I was going to re-review this since Olivia Newton-John passed away last month, but I'm afraid that's going to have to be on hold for now. I watched this along with Grease, which we'll see where that winds up later on the ranking. Anyway, this film's so underrated. It has some good tunes and what have you, especially the theme song and Magic, which of course was the #1 hit for Olivia. If you haven't seen this film, I think you gotta give it a one-time watch, but I'll explain when I re-review this film. Number 17 is Star Trek, the motion picture from 1979. Well, this film is a mixed bag in ways to me, but I recently watched the director's edition for the first time ever, and I think it's a little better with some updated effects and what have you. The cast is still pretty good. It's just like the action and what have you. Number 16 is Men in Black 3 from 2012. This is a bit of a step up from the last film. I love the performances Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones gave. Josh Brolin was really good too as young Agent K. Emma Thompson was good. Boris the Animal was definitely a great villain. I really liked him. Anyway, if you haven't seen my review for this or number 2, check them out if you haven't. Number 15 is Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home from 1986. This is a pretty good movie. I like it, and, well, it's got its fun moments. I mean, I like how the crew of the Enterprise try and make it back home after the events of the search for Spock, which we'll see where that and the second one wind up on here. Try to get back home and what have you with that old Klingon ship. They have to get help from these whales. Really something. Number 14 is Spy from 2015. Now, I watched this after after I watched Ghostbusters. But this is a much better film with Melissa McCarthy. She's absolutely crazy in this. Everyone's really good in this. I definitely gotta review this film someday. Anyway, I went and saw this film. It's action packed. It's got a lot of laughs. Enough said. Number 13 is the Kentucky Fried Movie from 1977. This is an outrageously crazy film with satires and what have you, use of commercials and even movies and what have you. If you've never seen this film, you gotta see it. If you haven't seen my review of this film, check it out. Directed by John Landis, who would later give us National Lampoon's Animal House and the Blues Brothers, plus Michael Jackson's Thriller and Black or White videos. Yeah, really funny. Number 12 is Orphan from 2009. I love this movie. This is so underrated and what have you. I recently watched the new prequel, Orphan First Kill, which we'll see where that winds up on the first time watch this ranking. Anyway, this film's so underrated. I love it. Isabel Furman's really good. Vera Farmiga's good. And as for everyone else, not too bad. This film, again, underrated. Don't mean it sound like a broken record every time. Number 11 is Scream from earlier this year. Of course, it's aka Scream 5. I decided to rewatch it after watching it for the first time last month, along with the first four. The second and first are still ahead. Scream 5, I'm going to say it's good. If you haven't seen my review of the film, check it out. It's done pretty well. But anyway, I thought it was a bit of a big comeback for the franchise. Number 10 is Men in Black from 1997. Great movie, love it. One that started it all. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith are really good. Vincent D'Onofrio is good. I just really got to enjoy this film. Its theme song by Will Smith's awesome too. You can't go wrong with that. This was just a blast. Number 9 is Uncharted from earlier this year. This film topped my February first time watches ranking. I gotta say, this film is still awesome after I revisited it on Netflix. Tom Holland, I didn't think he'd be good as Nathan Drake, but it proved me wrong. I didn't think Mark Wahlberg would be as good as Sully, but even without the mustache until, well, I won't tell you if you haven't seen it yet, would be, well. But I actually liked it. It's still pretty good and what have you, and pretty action packed. Number 8 is Face Off from 1997. Now, this film I failed to do a review of for its anniversary not so long ago, but I'm going to try and make up for lost time later on, since it's been a long time since I last saw this film. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage are really awesome in this. This film was action-packed. I won't give too much more details. Just stay tuned for a review of this coming later on down the road. Number 7 is Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock from 1984. Great sequel, pick up after the events of Wrath of Khan, which that's still to come. I gotta say, I know Leonard Nimoy didn't appear through the whole movie since he directed this film, but I'm gonna say he did one heck of a job with this film. Of course, I reviewed the first four films. You'll see reviews of the fifth, sixth, and seventh films later on this month. But anyway, Search for Spock, definitely a good Star Trek film. I really love it. Number 6 is Scream 2 from 1997. Great movie. Well, I still like the original because I watched it more, but this one's still growing on me big time. I love the performances from the whole cast. Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, everyone was good. Liev Schreiber got bigger performance, more time as time weary. Yeah, really good. Anyway, I like it, and it's really awesome. Whew! Took me just 14 minutes to get through that. Well, I'm on a roll so far. Good. Now I hope you've been enjoying this. Anyway, now it's time for the final five films. This is gonna be big surprise and what have you. And let me tell you, it's gonna be a blast. Some of it might surprise you, some of it may not. But hey, you be the judge and what have you of what I've got coming up. So anyway, now if you're ready, let's get into the top five and what have you. So if you're ready, let's continue. Coming in at number 5 is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan from 1982. This film did much better than the first film. It got some good response and what have you. I really do like the performances from everyone. This film, of course, recently celebrated its 40th anniversary not so long ago, back in June. Again, it was just so much fun. Ricardo Montalban was really good as Khan. I had almost forgotten he appeared in an episode of the original series, Space Seed. Yes, I actually do remember seeing that episode. Anyway, that was really good. I mean, this also had Kirstie Alley in her first big film before she even started working on Cheers later on. But anyway, Wrath of Khan, definitely good. I think this is probably one of my favorite Star Trek films of them all. But let's try not to jump to any conclusions yet until I've finished the series sometime. Okay? But anyway, Wrath of Khan, really good. It's great. It's got all the action, what have you. And I really do love it. Enough said. Now, coming in at number 4 is The Godfather from 1972. Now, I reviewed this film earlier this year. I was lucky to have seen it with its 2 sequels, but anyway, yeah, I vaguely remember seeing, not recall seeing all of part 2, but you'll see where that winds up when I do the first time watch this rating, because I'd only seen bits and pieces of it, but I'll explain why when I get to it. But Godfather, I have seen its entirety. This film's absolutely really good. And of course, Francis Ford Coppola did a great job with his direction. Of course, Mario Puzo's screenplay, which he co-wrote with Coppola, based on his best-selling novel of the same name. Everyone was really good. Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, whom we sadly lost this year, and everyone else was really good. I think The Godfather is just so incredible. It may be a long movie, but hey, I got through it. And I think it still got it after all these years. Yeah, after 50 years. Still a good movie, though. Okay, again, enough said. Coming in at number 3 is Grease Live from 2016. I love this. As much as I love the original film, which that's still ahead, this one, however, got a lot of good reviews when it came on Fox. And, well, I failed to catch on there, but while Hulu was still free and what have you, I was lucky to catch on there. And let me tell you, everyone was really good. I'm going to try not to give too much of the details. I do like the performances from Aaron Tveit as, if I mispronounce it, I apologize, as Danny. Julianne Hough was really good as Sandy. And Vanessa Hudgens as Rizzo. Yeah, everyone was really good. But I'll tell you more about it when I review this film sometime down the road. It's pretty good. It's a mix of both of what we see in the movie with a little bit of the actual musical itself. That's all I'm going to tell you. But anyway, really good TV musical film. I do love it. Now, coming in at number 2 is Scream from 1996. Now, this was a tough decision to make. But anyway, I love this movie. One of my favorite Wes Craven films ever. I mean, while I like Nightmare on Elm Street and other flicks he did before this, like The Hills Have Eyes, and well, I have a little bit of factual respect for Last House on the Left, but that's kind of a little bit of another story. But Scream, however, is awesome. This was what brought back the slasher genre big time. Everyone was great. I love the performances from everyone. Just so incredible. It had a great cast, great characters, great story, music, etc., etc., etc. It was just so awesome. I'm glad I still like to revisit this if I can ever find it on streaming. Scream is just so awesome, and I do love it. I still do to this day. And finally, coming in at number 1, my number 1 rewatch of August 2022 is Grease from 1978. I love this movie. I gotta tell you, it's been over 25 and a half years since I watched this film for the first time. I still remember getting this is a birthday present from one of the cheerleaders at when I was in school. It was just so incredible. It was such a great experience. I mean, 1997 was the year I had one of the best birthdays I ever had. That's something else. But anyway, Grease is so awesome. John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, again, may she rest in peace. I recently re-reviewed this film to mourn her loss, and what can I say? It was so fun to revisit this film. It still got its moments. It still got the great songs, and again, they're just so awesome. I do love Grease, and it's still the word to this day. No pun intended, folks. And the rest of the cast is good, the story's good, etc., etc., etc. Enough said. Okay, there you have it. There's my August 2022 rewatches ranking. What did you think of this ranking? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And stay tuned for my next Saturday morning TV log coming up next time on the 1982 Incredible Hulk tune. So, thank you for watching. And if you like this, consider seeing some of these other films that I reviewed and what have you. In the upper left-hand corner is my re-review of Grease, in memoriam to Olivia Newton-John. The upper right-hand corner is my review of The Godfather. Or go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of Uncharted. And the bottom right-hand corner is a button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.